Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my classroom. Today we'll be doing social studies, and our topic for today is the family. So I'm going to be teaching on family in general. So what comes to mind? The definition of family when you hear family. Now, family is defined as a group of individuals who are intimately related, living under the same roof, supporting and maintaining each other socially, economically, and emotionally. Now, they are the functions of the family. What are the functions of the family? We have procreation, socialization, economic, social, educational, and culture. Procreation. Young ones are reproduced, which ensures the continuation of the human species. Socialization. Family members are taught acceptable ways of behaving. Economical. Members earn money to acquire the basic needs such as food, clothes, and shelter. Social. The satisfaction of emotional and psychological needs make members feel emotionally secure and stable. Educational. The family does not play a main role in education anymore. However, the support and encouragement from the family is critical for educational success. Culture. The traditions, customs, ideas, habits, and the total quality of the society is passed on from one generation to another. Now, these are the functions of the family. This is what a family is expected to have. All these are what the family functions by. You can find all these functions in every family. Now, have you ever heard about the family tree? This is a chart that shows the names and the relationships of different generations of the same family. For example, the family tree would show your grandparents of both sides. So you would have the parents of your mother's side, and then you'll have the parents of your father's side. And on your mother's side, you might have one auntie, one uncle. Or on your father's side, you would have one auntie and one uncle. Or in some cases, like this diagram here, on your father's side, you would have one uncle or one auntie. And on your mother's side, it would be like her alone. You don't have any aunties or uncles on her side. And below that, you would see in the family tree that the father is shown married to the mother, and under them will come the children, the offspring, which would be you, your brother, and your sister, if you had siblings. And this is how the family tree looks like. It shows different generations of the same family. The relationships of different generations of the same family. So your grandparents would be one generation, your parents would be another generation, and you and your siblings is another generation. So in this family tree example, you can see 3 generations right now. Now there are different types of families. We have the nuclear family. This comprises of a husband, wife, child or children living together. Then we have the extended family. This defines a family type that extends beyond the nuclear family, who may or not be living in the same household. So when you hear nuclear family, remember that it is the smaller version of the extended family. Nuclear family just consists of husband, wife, child or children living together. The extended family extends beyond the limits of a nuclear family, which means you'll have grandparents, you'll have auntie, uncle, cousin. And besides these 2 family types, there's the single parent family. And in the single parent family, there's only one parent living with and caring for the children. In the sibling household, which is another family type, there are only brothers and sisters living together. There are no parents. And then, last but not least, there's a reorganized family. This is formed when 2 single parent families come together to form one family. Now, do you know what is a union? The Caribbean is one part of the world with an interesting diversity of family unions. These various family unions are the product of our historical past and have been inherited from the days of colonialism, African slavery, and East Indian indentureship. Now, there's a legal union and there's a non-legal union. Now, because of these unions, you have what we call today families. And there are many unions, different types of unions. There are the legal ones and the non-legal ones. So some example of unions would be visiting relationship, common law, monogamy, and legal marriage. So the visiting relationship would be, this is a situation where a woman lives without a permanent spouse but is visited by one or more men. In this family, the woman plays a dominant role. And then there's a common law, also known as a consensual or cohabitant. This is when a man and woman live together without being legally married. Then we have monogamy. This is a legal marriage between a man and a woman. Then we have the legal marriage. This is a lawfully recognized union. Now, non-legal unions are unions that are not officially registered by law or religion, which would be visiting relationship and common law. They are not officially registered by law or religion. Now the legal union. This family type is characterized by a formal marriage through a religious and/or all legal ceremony. Because of the diverse religious faiths and cultural origins of the people of the Caribbean, the formal marriage contract may be signed in the presence of a priest, a pundit, an imam, a justice of the peace, or a person duly authorized for that purpose. A formal marriage can only be performed legally if the parties to be married are over 18 years of age. Otherwise, parental consent becomes necessary. Now, there's a common law. The common law union is another family formed in the Caribbean. In this instance, a man and a woman decide to live under one roof as husband and wife without undergoing a religious or legal marriage ceremony. The arrangement is mutual and based on love and shared responsibility. An obvious disadvantage of such a union is that it lacks the binding strength which may keep it together during storms and stress. Children born in such a family are termed illegitimate in some countries of the Caribbean. Both women and children in some Caribbean countries suffer the added disadvantage of having no legal claim to inheritance. In Trinidad and Tobago, the law has been amended to allow such children to claim inheritance. Now for the visiting relationship. In this type of relationship, a woman lives without a permanent spouse. She is visited at intervals by the male. Children born of such a union are termed illegitimate in some countries, since the parents do not normally marry. The almost permanent absence of the father from the family results in the mother being the main person who wields power and authority in the home. Now we are going to go back at the beginning of what influences the marriages, the types of marriages, the different family creations, and the different unions today. Now, in the past, the slavery that was widely spread in the Caribbean has influenced what we know today as unions and different marriages and different family rules. Now, how has it been influenced? So, for example, a family under slavery in the historical past would not be allowed to marry. The slaves were not allowed to marry. Owners of the slaves forbade the practice. Any relationships between male and female slaves were unofficial. So, if there's a family during those days, the father would be absent due to the slavery, which made the mother the head of the family and the children. And because of the absence of the father, there's the family. The family formed from that, which today is known as matriarchal. When you hear the word Think about mother. Matricial is a family formed due because of this historical past. Matricial is where the mother has dominant authority. She is the head of the household. So, because of that historical past, we now have something called matricial, where the mother is the head. She is the head of the home. She has the dominion and authority. And because of that, we have something called matrifocal. The family is headed by the female, and lacks the presence of the father. So all this resulted from the historical past of slavery. Now those were just examples to show how much the past history has caused a lot of change in today's society. I will talk more further on those different terms and those different definitions in another video. Now we're going to talk about the roles of the parents. Now, what are the roles of the parents? I'm just going to give you 3. To supply the basic needs like food, clothes, shelter, and money for the children. To care and love the child for emotional security. To assist in the solving of problems which a child may experience. Then there's the roles of the grandparents. To assist the parents to bring up the child in an acceptable manner. To care for the child in the absence of the parents. To guide the parents and assist them in solving material problems. And then there's the role of the children. To obey their parents. To show respect for others and themselves. To assist parents in creating an atmosphere in the home that will lead to a happy family. And then there's the various relationships between parents, which includes shared love and assuming all responsibility for children, meeting the essential needs of all family members. And then there's the relationships between parents and children. Both should share love, care, and trust. The children interact with their parents both in and out of the home. The children are dependent on the parents for basic necessities of life. And then there's the responsibilities of the parents to the children. The parents have to provide a good education for the children. They need to ensure the children get enough food, exercise, rest, and sleep. They need to ensure proper medical care and attention for the children. They need to guide them and counsel them whenever needed, and provide adequate safety for them. All these are the roles and the responsibilities of family members. And then there's the cause and effects of the changes in the roles of the family members. So, if you have noticed and looked around today, a lot of the roles of the family members in today's society has changed. Sometimes in the family, the mother will be working and the father will be at home, housekeeping. Or it could be the other way around. Or both parents can be working. This wasn't always like this. Long before, it was normally considered the man to be working and not the woman, and for the woman to be home taking care of the children and doing house chores. Now today you're seeing both parents working, and then today you're seeing only women alone working, men are unemployed. So all these are the changes in the roles of family members in today. And the main causes, the reasons for the change in roles of family members are, I'll give you a few. Couples are free to choose their own type of employment. So there's no law, there's nothing that says this person, this spouse, this wife or this husband cannot choose this type of employment. No, they are free to choose their own type of employment. So if the husband wants to work, she cannot say nothing about it. If the wife wants to work, he cannot say nothing about it. There's nothing to be said or done against what they want to do. And then modern jobs demand varying working hours and skills. So sometimes in the family, so if the wife has the skills and the talent for the job that is available and the husband does not, this will mean that she will have to be working to support the family and not him. So the jobs today demand varying working hours and skills. So it's only if you have the skills and you have the talent, then you could get a job. or you have the degree, or you have the certificate, or the diploma. You have to have these things to get jobs today because jobs are very hard to get. So, because of the demand of skills required for the job, it can cause a change of role in the family. So instead of the father working, the mother could be working because she has the skills, she has a diploma, she has the degree, and whatever it is she have. That is why the change will come. And then there's greater education opportunities are available for both men and women. So not only men are getting these opportunities, women are also getting these opportunities, which will lead to both parents working in the family. And another main reason for the changing roles of family members are more women are working and more men are unemployed. Then there's the main effects of the changing roles of family members. What happens when the role changes? Now, what happens is that women are now decision makers at home. So if the wife works, she will now have to make the decision. Okay, I'm not spending so much and so much. Or I'm gonna buy this. Or I'm not gonna buy this because I'm the one working. I'm the one bringing home the income. So that is gonna happen. The women are not gonna be the decision makers at home because they control the money if they are the ones working and not the husband. And now, another main effect will be that husbands play a greater role in caring and upbringing of their children. So if the wife works, the husband will know how to play the role which a wife is supposed to be playing, which is caring and upbringing their children if they have children. And then another effect would be children also assist in household chores and care for the younger ones. Why this would happen? If both parents are working, who is going to take care of the children, the little ones? The older children, right? They will have to take more time and care for the younger ones. So this is another thing that happens. This is the effect. And then here's another thing. Women and men spend more time out of the home and less time with the children. So if both of them are working, if both of them have jobs, they will spend less time with the children. They will leave the responsibilities to the older children. Another effect would be children assume greater responsibility at an earlier age. So if both parents are working and the child is young, that child will have to take on responsibility at a younger age than normal. Now there are the effects on society of the change in family rules, which include identity crisis, marginalization of men, role conflict, and development of self-esteem and woman independence. Now, identity crisis. How does the effect on society be identity crisis? Well, the roles are no longer clear-cut because one person may perform different traditional roles of the different genders. So, in society today, the effect of these changing roles has changed the identity and may cause identity crisis because the father may be playing the role of the mother while the mother is playing the role of the father. So the identity is no longer clear cut. And then there's a marginalization of men. The role of man has moved from a more central position in the family to one less dominant and is reducing. Why? Because more women are working, more men are unemployed. And sometimes the family does not have the male figure in the family, and the female figures are working. They are supporting the family. So the role of man has moved from a more central position in the family to one less dominant. And then there's role conflict. This can arise when the ability to perform one role may hinder the ability to perform another. Also, where one may be performing a new role and is still expected to perform the traditional roles. So if there is no mother in the family and the father has the ability to perform a new role as the mother, he also has to continue to perform the role of the father. Right? Role conflict. He has to do both, get both the jobs done. And then there's the development of self-esteem and confidence of women independence. This is due to the fact that women are playing so many different roles and making so many contributions to society, and they are getting the recognition for all their contributions. So now there's women rights, there's woman empowerment. Right? This is change in society. It has an effect on society. Now let's talk about parenthood. The factors which are necessary when preparing for parenthood are as follows. So physical. They must be physically mature and healthy. Economical. Must be able to earn enough money to maintain a family. Emotional. Must be emotionally secure and stable. So all these factors I'm going to list now would be what is required for parenthood. What parents need to have when preparing for parenthood. So physical, let's go again. Physical, they must be physically mature and healthy. Economical, must be able to earn enough money to maintain a family. Emotional, must be emotionally secure and stable. Psychological, must be psychologically prepared to raise children and to deal with the problems of child rearing, and must be mentally sound and stable. Educational, must have proper knowledge of time management, family planning technique, first aid techniques, and budgeting, which will help in parenting. Safety, must be able to provide a safe and secure environment to raise children. Religion, must be knowledgeable about religious knowledge or background. They must have some religious knowledge or background. Knowledge, must be knowledgeable about matters related to marriage. They must be able to also make wise decisions. And also the couple must be flexible, have a sense of humor, accept each other's weaknesses, respect each other's rights, be committed to the marriage, have faith in each other, be God-fearing, loyal, honest, and cooperative. In parenting, there are the characteristics or the skills of effective parenting. So what makes parenting effective? These are the characteristics and skills that makes effective parenting. So there's problem solving skills. Parents will encounter many situations, both between themselves and involving the children, that will require proper resolutions to ensure the success of the family. So when becoming a parent, you're going to have problems that is involve the child or just between you and your partner. And in order to have effective parenting skills, you have to be able to counterattack that situation, that problem, and bring it to a resolution so that you could keep the family together. You could keep the family united, right? And then there's communication skills. Parents must be able to communicate effectively, speak clearly, honestly, and openly. They should also be able to listen to their child's questions, feelings, and concerns. Then there's socializing skills. Parents must have knowledge of the values, morals, and norms of society if they are to successfully pass it on to their children. Then disciplinary skills. Parents must be able to set guidelines for behavior, fix boundaries that should not be crossed, and be able to impose suitable discipline in a calm but firm manner. Not violent, not violation, calm but firm manner. Proper nutrition. Parents must have knowledge of nutrition to plan balanced meals to meet the child's nutrition requirements to ensure proper development. Then there's the ability to show love. Children need to be nurtured and loved to ensure proper development, and sometimes the demands of parenthood may affect the ability of the parent to show love. Too busy at work, too busy with chores. Now there's the ability to manage money. Parents must be able to manage the household's money to ensure that income is allocated to pay fixed bills and that sufficient money is available to meet basic needs. Now, while we are on the topic family, let's talk about how a family begins. Now, the adolescent period is one which is characterized by a very powerful and strong sex drive. It is during this time that adolescents generally begin courting, which may end in the formation of a family. So, courtship, which is dating, is normally the first sign which indicates that two people are interested in family life, in creating a family. It is the act or process whereby one tries to win the love of another. At first, an individual may court a number of persons. Courting couples are usually seen at fetes, the cinema, beach parties, parks, picnics, etc. It is a long period for developing proper heterosexual attitudes and getting to know each other better. It must be stressed that during courtship, a sexual relationship need not exist. After dating several individuals, two people may eventually get serious and stop dating others. After this stage, a legal marriage follows, preceded by an engagement, or the couple may decide to shack up and continue with a common law relationship. Here are some other means by which families begin. Arranged marriage. In this situation, the parents choose a spouse for their son or daughter, whether they like it or not. Then there's a shotgun marriage, a situation where two people are forced to marry because of the occurrence of pregnancy. Then there's a marriage of convenience. You're married for gains. Here a person marries another because of wealth, status, or position. The situation where a national decides to marry a foreigner so as to facilitate the latter obtain citizenship also falls within this category. So, if a person marries a foreigner from another country just to gain citizenship of that other country, then that is a marriage of convenience. You're only married for gains. And then there's traditions. Now traditions is where it is in some families when a spouse has died and surviving partner is married to the most eligible family member of the deceased. However, this is not a common practice in the Caribbean. So that was just an example, right? That if one of the spouse dies, the remaining living spouse has to marry to one of the spouse's siblings who is near to that person. Now, that does not be in the Caribbean. However, that was just an example. Or for instance, in this family tradition, you have to marry your cousin and not some outsider. That could be a family tradition. And then there's elope. Now, elopement means run away. Two people may elope and either form a common law relationship or a legal marriage. This means to run away. Two people run away to marry. And these are the different ways a family begins. Now in the family, there can be conflict between parents and children. Why conflict? Sometimes the parents don't agree with the children, sometimes the children don't agree with the parents. Now what is this called? Okay, we're going to talk about the generation gap. The generation gap may be defined as a divergent views held by parents and their children concerning matters of everyday life. So, all these things exist in families. For example, music. Teenagers like to listen to dub and reggae, played very loudly. However, their parents prefer soft classical music. Or in clothing, teenagers prefer to wear short, revealing clothes, while parents insist on conservative apparel. Or how about in prayers? Children want to spend their leisure time going to the movies, parties, spend time with friends, but their parents prefer them to visit a church, temple, or mosque. And then there's freedom. Children want to go anywhere, anytime. Parents want children to be home before dusk. Then there's friends. Children want friends who are adventurous and carefree, while parents prefer them to have friends who are responsible. Then there's television. Children want to view movies with lots of violence and wrong things, while parents want them to look at religious and educational videos. Then there's courtship. Teenagers want to have serious boyfriends and girlfriend relationship, while parents want none of that. So all of these things cause conflict between parents and children because they both have their own views, and this is what leads to the generational gap. It's like it's like a bridge that is split in two, right? The children is on one side and the parents is on the other side, and in between them is all the topics, all the subtopics on which they are talking about, but the parents have their view of those topics on them side and the children have their view of their topic on those topics on them side. So that bridge can never be connected because it's like the two bridges are like this and there's water underneath those two bridges and there's nothing connecting it. So it is like a generational gap. There's a gap between the parent and the child. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope it taught you something.